So let's start off with the question, what is a samurai? On the island nation of Hingashi, the realm's great lords vied for supremacy over a long and bloody conflict. And taking to battle in their masters' names were noble swordsmen whose art was forged in the crucible of war, the samurai. Eventually, the action was unified under one banner, and these warriors came to wield their katana as protectors of their homeland's peace. Primarily, samurai refers to a position of standing in Hingashi society. They are a martial vassal who serves a liege in return for certain privileges. Even the term samurai comes from the root word of saburao, meaning to serve, which reinforces the fundamental nature of their status. Records of this arrangement became common around 600 years ago, but examples of the samurai art of combat can be found even earlier in history. The fighting style, distinct from mainland practices, was founded by warriors who favored the katana and honed over lifetimes of conflict. As well as devising techniques to infuse their uniquely curved blades with kenkai, samurai also mastered the meditative state of shin, which paved the way for iejutsu and other elevated forms of swordsmanship. The samurai art eventually found purpose on the continents and saw the birth of numerous variant schools. In a realm coddled by relative peace, however, the title of samurai has become largely hereditary, leading to fears that this once hard-earned honor is being replaced by empty tradition. As for the terms of kenki and inajutsu, in the lands of the Far East, one's etheric flow is often referred to as ki, and the kenki of a samurai is a harnessing of these energies, allowing the swordsman to accumulate ki with their blades and therefore unleash various deadly techniques. In this respect, such henasashi might be interpreted as a martial form of magecraft. As for inajutsu, these techniques are performed by building ether in a sheathed katana and then unleashing the entire store of energy the instant the blade is drawn. Executing inajutsu correctly requires complete control over one's state of mind, a feat achieved by entering a battle trance known as shin. Samurai attain such meditative mastery only through intense discipline and training. Now, let's go on and discuss the best type of equipment needed to bring out the full power of the samurai. The most elementary set of armor was designed for samurai initiatives. The yoki and the hakama were woven with enchanted silk to enhance the wearer's sensitivity to the flow of ether, effectively aiding the novice in learning to recognize the sensation of kenki gathering in blade and sheath. The most well-known armor is crafted in the morai and hakama style of armorers of the long-standing Mochichin clan. This set of armor is common garb for the present-day samurai, and while it appears to be little more than a decorative kimono, the cloth is woven in such a way as to promote the flow of ether. As for the weapon themselves, the samurai, of course, favor the katana over any other types of weapon. While there are pros and cons to using a katana, for there's no such thing as a perfect sword, it is said that the katana are among the finest cutting weapons in military history. They are definitely smaller but sharper than average broadswords and greatswords. Perhaps the most famous katana would be the Kiju Ichimonji, which was forged by a legendary Hingan swordsmith. It is said that simply using the katana with their undulating temper pattern along the length of the blade and the sheets of serpentine ornamentation amplifies the wielder's energies when performing inajutsu. Now let's take a look at a few tricks of the trade involving the most iconic abilities the samurai is able to use, starting off with the limit break, Doom of the Living. All those who live are fated to die. The samurai portrays the foe's life with innumerable slashes of the blade, ends that life with a single ether-infused stroke, and then sheaths her weapon in a symbolic depiction of transcendence. But we also have other abilities such as Hisatsu Kyuten. One of the samurai's formidable Hisatsu techniques, Kyuten is a word which expresses 9 directions. The 8 compass points joined by the center, and device to cut down all surrounding enemies with a single strike. Tenkai Boken, a form of inajutsu wherein the samurai fashions his katana's accumulated ether into phantom blades, and strikes as if wielding the 5 swords of legend, the Tenkai Goken. Meikar Setsugetsu. Sets, gets, ka. It is said that when one occupies all 3 states of sin, The thread of a foe's life comes into focus. The sublime Inagetsu was devised to cut that thread. Samurai is more of a close-range melee job, which specializes solely in dealing damage. Unlike other DPS jobs, Samurai isn't known for lending aid to others in the middle of battle, but are often the ones who deal the most damage. There are two types of Samurai in this world: those who swear their loyalty to a lord or master, and those who are considered wandering Ronin, lordless Samurai. The one known as Musosai is the perfect example of the latter, as he spent much of his life traveling and righting the wrongs of others. Now, I will refrain from speaking too much about the job quests if you haven't played through them yet, but I will be giving a brief description of some key characters who are noted figures in helping us throughout the journey. A master swordsman hailing from Higashi, Musosai traveled to Eorzea in search of a people to carry on the fighting techniques he had spent a lifetime perfecting. To that end, Musosai employed the aid of Momozigo, an udon showmaster, to organize a tournament in the Colosseum. It was later revealed that Musosai was one known as Kogarashi, a noble samurai who righted wrongs across Higashi, a man nevertheless forced to abandon his homeland following the evils perpetrated by Ugetsu, his former student. Racing against illness and the march of old age, Musosai had departed for foreign shores to seek a worthy successor to his legacy. But speaking of his pupil, we have Ugetsu Tachikake, a talented swordsman and later the leader of an insurgent group. Alongside his teacher, Master Musosai, a young Ugetsu embarked on a pilgrimage to confront injustice across Higashi, but was instead incensed by the corruption he witnessed strangling his homeland. Reasoning that those in power had grown greedy and complacent over long years of peace, Ugetsu vowed to bring down the Bafuku in fire and blood. He gathered a band of like-minded fellows and began executing dignitary after dignitary in a string of assassinations. His philosophy of cutting out the old to make way for the new earned him few allies, however, and his methods became ever more extreme. A confrontation with the Shikishigumi saw him slay Captain Kongo, but Ugetsu finally met his end at the hands of a fellow pupil of Musosai, aided by Makoto, a Shikishigumi samurai who was, in truth, his own sister, Kagetsu. As for the journey to becoming a samurai, the best way to learn that is by journeying to the Far East to enlist in one of their schools or having a master teach you personally. Perhaps you will get lucky and happen to find such a teacher in unexpected places, like the Colosseum in Uda, for example. Either way, it's important to remember to approach such a teacher with humility and be willing to accept all that they have to teach, and take what they say seriously so as not to take a path that no one would wish to walk down. And that will be it for right now. Thank you all so much for joining me for today's lesson on the lore of the samurai. Whether you choose to serve under another or wander to your own terms, I wish you the best of luck in whatever you do. But otherwise, I hope that you're all looking forward to the next lesson, which once again will be a surprise. So until next time, everyone, class dismissed.